There he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. And every day that passes, Joe, the Dolphins, boy, they got really lucky. They didn't go down that Deshaun Watson road, bro. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, lots of quarterbacks get injured, and it's not like Watson was extremely injury prone. He has had injuries throughout his career, but certainly unfortunate for the Browns because they're talented enough to be a playoff team, and now due to shoulder surgery, they have to shut him down for the year.
Well, it's not only that, Joe. I don't know how much you watch because I know being a beat guy, you don't really watch, the NFL as much because you're covering a team every Sunday and you're not there watching the entire league. He can't throw downfield anymore. Like he has no accuracy whatsoever. Like he lost his mojo. He lost his edge when you watch him play. And then on top of all of that, you gave him the 200 and whatever $1 million guaranteed. My God. I mean, you think of the hell that this team has been through for a few decades now. You would have added this on top of that. I mean, what
Yeah, I
would
mean,
this
it's been an unfortunate start to the Deshaun Watson Browns era, but I wouldn't bury him yet. You've seen Russell Wilson, for example, bounce back pretty nicely. Um, you guys with talent, and both of those guys are uber talented.
Yeah.
The cream usually rises to the crop if you get the right coaching and you're healthy. It didn't seem like he was healthy. There was a lot of injuries that he was trying to navigate.
Yeah, it's just I think it's different. Like Russell, it's not that Russell committed crimes and was put through the ringer and all that, even though he has been put through the ringer. So there is a little bit of a comparison, but it's only because of his goofiness and he's just like a different dude and all that. But it's not because he went under this kind of scrutiny that this guy. It's just again this is a team that hasn't dodged a lot of those bullets for decades. They finally dodged one. You know what I'm saying? So it's actually pretty cool to see that. All right. Your interpretations of what's going on in Bills land.
Yeah, I mean, they fired their offensive coordinator. He essentially fired his defensive coordinator in the offseason. So things seem to be unraveling a little bit in Buffalo. There's certainly no guarantee at this point that they will be in the playoffs. I would think that they will make the playoffs as a wild card behind the Dolphins. But yeah, they lost. They lost. Josh Allen has obviously regressed, and he turns the ball over too much. Does well against the Dolphins, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't count them out for dead yet. 5-5, but there's a lot of football to be played. Who's to say they still can't win 10 or 11 games?
Yeah, but dude, that window's closed, right? The way I see it now, this has opened up a massive opportunity for the Miami
Oh
Dolphins.
yeah.
I know they're on top of the division right now, but this is the year. It might become the year of the turning point where the torch is being passed over to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Bills have had the better of the Dolphins in general for quite some time, so they'll have to do it. They'll have to do it first before we see.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of being set up for you. Obviously, you've got to take care of business the next time you meet them, but everything is set up there right now, right, for Miami to really become
Yeah.
the number one in this division
Well,
right now.
yeah, I mean, you look at the next 5 opponents, and I just posted a story about it on the Palm Beach Post. They're facing horrible quarterbacks and horrible teams. They should go at least 4-1, if not 5-0. If they go 5-0, they're almost assured to win the AFC East. So,
Yeah,
health, they're pretty healthy at the right time.
yeah,
And I wrote it specifically about the defense and how I don't think they've met my preseason expectations just yet, aside from, of course, the second half shutout against the Chiefs in Germany, which is the last time we saw them. But I think that this team has the chance to finish in the top 10 in defense in the league in all categories by the end of the year.
yeah. I agree. The defense now is going to really take off, now that the two corners are healthy, and you got Holland back too. You're missing him a little bit too. Now you got those three guys there. That defense should really take off. Pass rush should really benefit from having those guys back there. That's I think we should see the sack numbers, go up in a big time way.
Yeah, Phillips is feeling healthier after navigating some back and oblique issues earlier in the year. Bradley Chubb is playing with confidence, sacks in 4 straight games. He's a two-time. I referenced this in the story. Bradley Chubb, a two-time Pro Bowler, but never an NFL Network top 100 player. Ramsey, Howard, Wilkins, all top 100 players. Will Chubb reach that status? It's interesting. It seems as though he has to overcome the perception that he's just a very good player who gets injured too much.
Yeah, but he has turned the corner now, so stage is his now to be able to do his thing. And I think Phillips also is another one that's really coming around now and turning the corner finally. And hopefully we're going to see something special from those guys. Joe, when you look at Hard Knocks coming up, I'm interested because how do you look at it? Because I think this is going to be a positive for the Dolphins, actually. I know everybody thinks about the whole Joe Philbin mess and all that stuff, but just look around, dude. The dysfunction is in New York. The dysfunction is with the Buffalo Bills. The dysfunction is with the Patriots, not with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, Mike McDaniel is well equipped to handle this.
Yeah.
He's as well equipped as any coach because of his emotional intelligence, his sense of humor, his poise. And let's be honest, the Dolphins are going to get a chance, in my opinion, to screen a lot of this stuff. And if there's anything that they think is a competitive disadvantage or very negative or controversial, you won't see it in the show. So no. I saw the Hard Knocks crew wearing Miami Dolphins t-shirts, and that struck me. I didn't expect them to be wearing Miami Dolphins t-shirts. And obviously, from their perspective, they want to be perceived as a part of the cause, not anything that's going against the cause.
Yeah, or they wanted to uniform them in a way so they can easily be differentiated from the regular media and other people that'll be
It says
around.
Miami Dolphins, though. It doesn't say HBO, doesn't say Hard Knocks. It says right. Miami Dolphins. It's Miami Dolphins gear.
Yeah, but it's probably a shirt that the team gave them, so that way they know that, okay, this is the crew from Hard Knocks, and then, it kind of differentiates from everybody else. But you kind of highlighted a lot of the things that I talked about. I actually think this is going to turn, and one of the things you just mentioned also, which gave me fuel to the fire here, you have a stretch here of a lot of games you should win. Mm-hmm. So there should be a lot of positive buzz and then the good vibes. And I think when players see the way they interact with each other, the way they interact with the coach, the way the coach handles a lot of things, I think this is going to become a great selling tool for the Miami Dolphins.
It should be. Yeah, they'll be there.
Right.
It's a place you want to play for many reasons. They always had the weather and the state income tax going for them. Now they have this positive culture and vibe. And, there's no reason that players shouldn't want to play. It is true that some of the good players on the team, like Tua Tagovailoa and Xavier Howard, would prefer that Hard Knocks not be there. So them finding it annoying is not really a positive, but it might be a positive for the franchise, certainly. I hope it's good viewing. I find Hard Knocks boring in recent years. I'm told that the in-season Cardinals one was pretty decent last year. I didn't watch it. Mm-hmm. I would imagine that the preseason one has higher ratings than the in-season one, but I don't know that.
I enjoyed the Cardinals. I mean, I enjoy them overall. I think they do a pretty good job. They try to do the best they can. Sometimes situations are different and people are different and coaches are different. So I'm sure it's sometimes it's a lot easier to do your job. And then I'm sure there are other times where it's going to be a little harder. But that's where I think, some people were so terrified from the last go around. I'm not actually on this one. I on the last go around, I was with everybody else in general, like, oh, there's going to be a mess because our Dolphins are a mess. They're They're dysfunctional, but right now they're not. And I think this is going to be one hell of a selling tool. Plus, they're going to see the facilities. So they're going to see people, an ownership group that spends, top-notch facilities, players having some fun because they're going to be winning a lot of easy games for a long stretch here. And they're going to see a coach that is very likable. I just think there's a lot of positives for the Dolphins to cash in on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I mean, McDaniel himself is becoming a national storyline. I've had national broadcasting networks reach out to me to ask for interviews about McDaniel. We saw the Washington Post do a lengthy profile on Mike McDaniel recently. He's an interesting figure. Certainly, this is a guy that books will be written about.
Yeah, it's really cool. Are you expecting, because it looks like Hunt may not end up playing?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that he was in good shape considering how he looked jogging around in Germany, but I think they want to be especially cautious with the what do they call them? Soft tissue injuries, the hamstring and whatnot. So Mike McDaniel kind of, told us what was going on when he described Hunt as week to week and not day to day. Doesn't mean that Hunt's definitely not going to play. Dolphins also brought in some veteran guards to work out, including Andrew Norvell, who has over 100 NFL starts. So do they end up signing a veteran guard? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, listen, in the end, they lost one. And so you kind of want to start to, stash somebody out there. Just like the receiver that they signed, what's his name? The Schwartz kid. That's not because of any injuries or anything. That's just more of an experiment.
And there's some Waddle insurance. Waddle has been really banged up this year a lot.
Yeah, but you're getting
they need him.
You're getting Craycraft back. The Schwartz kid isn't even close to contributing right now at all. He's not even a thought. Whereas Norvell, you got to start maybe thinking about stashing a guy on your practice squad just in case down the line. And you should always be working on that anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they added Eric Fisher last year.
Right.
And it didn't work out. But that's the kind of move that might be in the cards here moving forward. Norvell would be kind of a similar type of move.
What do you how are you looking at this game? Because it's a game you should win. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I mean, they're playing with some energy and a little, with the coaching change. Everybody celebrated that Josh McDaniel was gone. They're playing music and smoking cigars and dancing. It's really interesting. It does seem like the Belichick tree is wilting. That way is just not the way to go. It seems like the Dolphins clearly made the right move in moving away from the Belichick tree and moving towards the sort of new age type of coach. So credit to Chris Greer and Stephen Ross. They took a lot of criticism for moving on from Flores because he's a good defensive play caller, because he does have structure, discipline, and organization. But it clearly was the right move. But Aiden O'Connell, I mean, no, the Dolphins are facing a bunch of quarterbacks coming up here that they should not only play well against, because they've been among the worst in the league in passer rating by opponent, touchdown passes by opponent, red zone by opponent. It's not good enough. It needs to be better, and they should intercept these quarterbacks that they have coming up in the next 5 games. They should sack, fumble, touchdown these quarterbacks that are coming up. They should just destroy and humiliate. I think Robert Saleh, didn't he say something like, "Oh yeah, we've humiliated every quarterback we've faced"? That's how the Dolphins should feel coming out of this 5-game stretch. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know a ton about the Raiders, but I know that they're playing better. But the Dolphins should win. They're 12-point favorites for a reason. That's a big number.
Yeah, and by the way, Belichick doesn't have a tree; he has a poison ivy. Okay. All right. What are you working on?
Do we count Vrabel? I don't know. It's kind of dicey.
He was a player. He was a player. He didn't coach under Belichick.
Because he never coached under him, we're not going to count him. All right.
Yeah, because you can't. Just because you played for somebody that's not your tree. Your tree is somebody you developed as a coach. You know what I mean? Like Spoelstra and the Van Gundys are part of Pat Riley's tree. You know what I'm saying?
And I guess next year the former Patriots linebacker, will get promoted to head coach. So I don't know if we will count him if he succeeds. We'll see.
The Tennessee kid, right? What's his name?
Yeah, it's bad that I can't think of it. The coach in waiting in New England.
I know
think of it.
I know he went to Tennessee as a linebacker. Is like I can't remember his name now, and I know he
Not
went
Dante Hightower, but like a Dante Hightower type. I just can't think of his name. Anyway, I posted a story about how there's no excuses. It's time for the Miami Dolphins defense to dominate their next 5 opponents. Gerard Mayo, there you go. Their next 5 opponents. Mm-hmm. And there's some interesting statistics in there. You know, some good, some bad. It's kind of weird, right? Because the Fangio defense is kind of structured to give up some rushing yards, some passing yards, sort of bend but don't break, blitz when it's not expected. So it's sort of convoluted on the statistics. But my point is, over the next 5 games, I want to see purely dominating statistics, and there's no reason to believe that there won't be.
Well, here's the thing. I think this defense for him will produce more sacks than normal. Why? You normally don't have these kind of corners. Normally, you just don't have 2 standout type of all pro corners on each side. Usually you have one and maybe a young guy or somebody that's kind of, growing or whatever. But to have those 2 guys and then to have Javon Holland, I think it's going to be, Fangio is going to have a little bit more flexibility to do a couple of more things that he normally could do. You know what I'm saying? So
David Long said we got dogs at every position group, and he's right. They have dogs at every position group, including David Long, who has gone from to wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because a lot of people are, we got to get a thumper and this and that, and I was
David Long's been good.
I was told in the building, the thumper is not what he likes. That's not what Fangio likes. He doesn't like thumpers. He likes agile guys that can move around.
It'd be nice to have both, a guy who's fast and can punish. But Long can deliver some impressive tackles for loss. He shoots through the gap. These guys have figuring out, as Christian Wilkins said on Monday, they're figuring out where they can take their shots. And they have a better feel for that now.
But there's only a couple of those guys in the league that are like thumpers that can run like deers. That's just not really a combination that is normal.
The Luke Kuechly's and those kind of guys.
Yeah, the Derek Brooks, come on. That kind of shit just doesn't exist much. Ray Lewis, that kind of shit just doesn't exist. They pop every once in a while, but if he can't get something like that freak, then you're going to get the agile guys like a David Long. So
I'll ask you one more thing. I'll leave you with this, and check out our stories in the palmbeachpost.com, and check me out on X and Instagram at Schad Joe. Next 5 games, Jets twice, Raiders, Washington, Tennessee. Over under average points allowed by Dolphins defense, 16.
I like that. Under.
That'd be good.
Yeah, no, because it's not great quarterbacks, so you should kind of limit them, overall.
I like that goal. Under 16. I like it.
Yeah. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe. Catch his work there at the Palm Beach Post doing his thing. And, of course, here with the EssentialMovingExperts.com Miami Dolphins Exchange. Joe, as always, thank you. We catch up next week, my friend.
See you, bud.
You got it. There you go, Joe Schad. And call our people at Essential Moving Experts. We love Sean Williams and the great people out there. 386-213-4054. That's 386-213-4054.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.